What's up guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren and I'm so excited that you came across this video today, and if you like it, I think that you should subscribe. So I wanted to make this a really casual video just from a girl who has lived in the city for the past like 9 or so months to somebody who is preparing to move to the city or just moved to the city. So I made a list, again very casual because I'm recording on my phone. So I made a list of things that I think that you should know before you get to the city, just more for informational purposes. They're definitely not things that you have to do, but things that I've learned along the way that maybe might help you out. So I'm just gonna get right into it. Try not to make this video too long. The first thing that you should know before moving to the city is to double your expected budget. So a lot of people talk about the budget you need to have to move to New York City. It's definitely a very expensive place to live, but it's an amazing place to live. But there's all these videos on here about your budget and how much you should have saved and how much you should plan for each month. I don't have any numbers to give you specifically about how much you should want to spend or things like that. I do know that for your rent, you should spend no more than about 30% of your income. But that's all I really know. The only thing I wanted to give you advice on was to double whatever your expected budget is. If you have a budget to buy $100 of groceries a month, just double it to $200. And if you fall under the 200 mark each month, then you're saving money. If not, you give yourself some extra room there. I definitely wasn't expecting things to be as much as they were. The grocery store that is right by me, it's $9 for a box of cereal. So it's a little bit more than I expected to pay, a little bit more than I've ever paid before for a box of cereal. So it's just made it much easier once I got to the city, realized how expensive things were, to just double my budget. Then I felt like I was either meeting my monthly goals or I was falling short of them. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to take advantage of free and discounted things. Again, just talked about a budget. City's expensive. If you can find free or even discounted things to do in the city, just take advantage of it, especially the free ones, because if you don't like it, you didn't pay anything for it. But I know, for example, let's say Broadway shows, a lot of people plan a whole city trip, a whole day in the city just to see a Broadway show because they don't live in the city or they don't live near the city. For you live in the city now, and it's so easy to just go see a show on a random Tuesday night. And so there's all these different things that you could put your name in for, like lottery systems, or there's all these discounted tickets. So there's no reason to be spending full price on, let's say, something like Broadway shows, because there's so many ways to get discounted tickets. And let's see, tip number 3. Oh, this is something that I definitely didn't expect moving to the city. The tip is to use the bigger, more crowded subway stations. And I know what you're probably thinking, that sounds like the most awful thing to do is to use the crowded subway stations. My first thought when I moved to the city was, I'm going to use the less crowded subway stations. They're just easier to navigate. There's not as many people around. There's not as many subway lines coming in. And so it's a lot less likely that you'll get confused. But I found that the bigger subway stations, yes, there's more people around, but there's also more police around. There's more people just watching. I just feel that safety is definitely a number 1 concern in the city. The city is, I wouldn't say it's unsafe, but it's definitely just something that you should always be watching over your shoulder and just kind of aware of your surroundings. And the bigger subway stations kind of gives me the feeling that there's always somebody watching, that there's a lot of people around. If something were to happen, there's more people that will step in and help, or there's more potential police officers around that will step in when needed, or it's just a deterrent for crime. When there's more people around and more police, there's less likely for somebody to want to commit a crime because there's more likely to get caught on video, things like that. And so I definitely recommend using the bigger subway stations if you can. For example, like 59th Street, Columbus Circle, there's so many subway lines coming in and out, and it can definitely get overwhelming, especially if you're new. But if you just take a day, go down there, kind of figure out where you need to go and just know what subway line you need to take, it's so much better in the long run. Also, subways run a lot more frequently in there, so you're less likely to get delayed. So that's a tip in itself. Then, number 4, speaking of safety, don't walk with headphones in. Guys, I can't tell you how many people, especially women, I see walking with headphones in. They may not have any music or any type of podcast. They may not be listening to anything, which is, honestly, that's a good tip, to put headphones in but not listen to anything. Less likely people to bother you, ask you questions, but you're also aware of your surroundings. Or just don't walk with headphones in at all. I know that hot girl walks are something that is very popular now. It's definitely good for your self-care to go on walks, but if you can avoid having anything in your ears or only putting it in one ear, that's definitely something I would recommend. It's all about safety. It really is. If you can't be aware of your surroundings, if you can't hear your surroundings, it's more likely for something to happen. And sorry, I'm in a parking lot. Okay. It's more likely for something to happen. I'm not even talking about your physical safety in terms of somebody coming up and robbing you or trying to hurt you, but even if you don't hear a car beeping, you may walk into the crosswalk or things like that. And so walking without headphones or walking with headphones but still being able to hear and know your surroundings is definitely something I would recommend doing in the city. Let's see, number 5. This is just avoid Midtown in general. I get it. I talked about Broadway shows. If you're going to see a show, if you're going there for something specific, just get in and get out. But Midtown is just so full of tourists. So many people. The crime rate in Midtown, just like small robberies and like pickpocketing, is definitely much higher. It's not the city. When people think of New York City, I know they think of Times Square, but there's just so many better things to do in New York City. Go downtown, uptown, you can go over to Brooklyn. It's just avoid Midtown in general. I would definitely say that you can spend your time elsewhere, and you can spend your time better and spend your money better elsewhere. Okay, that was tip number 5. Tip number 6 is the city is not always what it seems. And what I mean by that is that you may think that some place is a really safe area. Like I said, Times Square, people think that it's a really safe area, and sometimes it's not. There's not as much I don't know, I can't remember what that's called. There's more petty crime. There's less serious crime, but it's still, the city's not always what you seem. You may go down streets and you're like, wow, there's trash everywhere, there's bodegas everywhere, like this must not be a safe neighborhood. And that is definitely not the case. Where I live, there's a lot of trash on the streets. Just, it gets to pile up. I live in the Hell's Kitchen area and it piles up, the trash. There's bodegas everywhere. There's definitely not as many nice high-end upper class stores, but it's a really nice area. I really love the area that I live in, and I never would have realized that if I didn't just research the area first, and just instead of going off my gut, but instead of going off my first appearances when I first toured the area, I definitely was a little bit taken back by what it looked like. And then I realized how great the area is once I kind of did a little more digging and spent some more time in the area. So if you're looking for an apartment, definitely just don't go off of what you think everybody kind of falls into. Like the West Village is so great. It's great, but it's more expensive. So if you're looking for apartments in the area, I would definitely recommend, if you're able to kind of just go around, walk around the area and use your gut and use your own feelings to kind of see where you feel safe. Number 7, comfortable shoes. I get it. New York City's all about fashion. I'm not a fashion girl. I am literally wearing a sweatshirt and a rain jacket right now. It's just what it is. Not in the city right now, but it's just, I would wear this exact same outfit in the city. Getting comfortable shoes is definitely a must. It is so common for people to be in suits or dress clothes and wearing sneakers. It's so common, people walking around the city, to be wearing sneakers to, let's say, work, and then they change into their work shoes when they get to work. It's not weird at all to be wearing sneakers with any type of outfit. I've seen people wearing ball gowns literally walking through the city, getting to like whatever event they had to go through, and sneakers. Okay, so not even sneakers, but just any type of comfortable shoe. If you're going to be walking around a lot, it's definitely worth the investment to get a nice pair of comfortable walking shoes. All right, number 8, if you have one. I know it's kind of rare for this, not rare, but it's definitely a little bit more pricier of a building to have a doorman. But if you have a doorman, make friends with your doorman. I am super nice to my doorman. I try and say hi whenever I see him. Even if I see him on the street, like going to and from work, I try and say hi. They rotate. There's I have about 4 doormen that rotate throughout my building that are the more common ones. And I'm always just generous to them because they do so much, but they're also great with packages. They make sure to really check on deliveries that are coming in. If you have a DoorDash order that's coming in, they make sure to like really check to make sure it's going to your apartment. They watch. My building has like doors all around, so you can kind of see when you're coming off the avenue coming in. They watch for you, and they watch people that are behind you. They're so great to my dog. They give him treats every time. And so I think just making friends with your doorman, they also know the area very well and can help you out with so many things. And so making friends with your doorman is definitely a tip. Don't just ignore them when you walk into the building, because they can be so helpful in certain situations. All right, number 9 is to be spontaneous. I get it. It's, you're working 9 to 5, you're tired when you get home, whatever it is, but taking advantage of those spontaneous things, whether they're little mini trips or they're just free or discounted tickets that you got. Being spontaneous in the city is so easy to do. You can get anywhere in the city on the subway within just, a couple of minutes if you hop on the subway, and it's just really make your time in the city worthwhile. So be spontaneous. It's very fun, and it kind of gets you out of your comfort zone, and you can meet new friends that way. The last is that the city, you're probably not going to expect this, but the city is very small. It's smaller than it seems. I know millions of people live in the cities and the boroughs, but I see the same people every day. When I walk my dog, I see the same dogs every day and the same owners. My dog plays with this same dog that we see on our morning and nightly walks, and I've become friendly with the owner. We always say hi, we chit chat a little bit. And so it's good to just it's a good way to make friends in your area, or just kind of even feeling safer at night, knowing like, oh, this person's definitely going to be around outside. I've even come across people that I thought were either homeless or whatever the case may be, and I realized that they either weren't, or they're just genuinely really, sometimes you kind of avoid people that don't look a certain way, which definitely is a stereotype on my part, but I tend to sometimes avoid homeless people, and I've found that some of them are just really genuinely nice in my area, or they're not homeless, they just kind of hang around this one area. They love to pet my dog. I've always been friendly, but I've always been safe about it. I've always made sure to watch my surroundings and things like that. But again, a city smaller than it seems. You're going to see the same people around, so you may as well make friends with them. You're going to see the same people if you have a dog at the dog park, same people if you like to go running. You're going to see the same people on your running track or your running trail. So definitely just be open-minded about the people you see and making friends with, or just kind of giving them a friendly smile. I even say that about just people in general, even if you don't see them a lot. I've realized that that term, kill them with kindness, is definitely applicable to the city. I've always kind of been nice to people, given a little smile. I found that if you just walk past somebody who's tried to say something to you, even if it's not always appropriate, being rude sometimes does not help the situation. I've had people that I wouldn't necessarily talk to on an everyday basis, or I wouldn't talk to ever, kind of say like, oh, what a cute dog, and I would smile, thank you, and keep going. And if I didn't say anything, if I just kind of scurried my way along, they may have been it may have escalated the situation. So that's my tips, but I'm gonna add one more because I'm just thinking of it now. So this is special tip number 11. For anybody looking for an apartment in the city, Street Easy is absolutely awesome, but definitely be aware of the type of pictures. Wide angle cameras are very common, and so you literally will look at a space and you're like, oh my god, this is so big, I can't believe the price, or can't believe it hasn't been taken yet. definitely look at the square footage. Look at the square footage of the place, because you will be like, oh my god, this is literally half the square footage of what I thought it would be. It's literally a shoebox of a room. I mean, you get what you pay for in New York City. You definitely get the lifestyle and the city and whatever, but just be aware that wide angle cameras are very popular, and landlords and realtors and stuff will try and make a space look a lot bigger, and it's not as big as it is. They'll also make the space seem like it's going very quickly. This did happen around the pandemic time, where spaces were going so quickly because they were so cheap, but now that prices are starting to go back up, it's definitely not as much of a rush to find a place. If you find that a landlord is really pressuring you, or a realtor is really pressuring you, and you just don't know if it's the right place, go with your gut and don't sign the lease right away. If it's available in a couple days, then maybe it's the right place for you. If it's not, then there you go. So that is my very casual tips for people just moved to the city, or thinking about moving to New York City, or just like to watch these types of videos and they have no intention of moving to New York City, because I totally get that. So those are my tips. If you have any other tips, I would love if you leave them in the comments for people who are watching this, or if you have any tips for me or videos that you would like to see from me, I would really, really appreciate that. My time in the city is definitely coming to an end, which is so sad, but can't stay there forever. I wish, but can't stay there forever. So if you have anything you want to tell me, just leave it down in the comments. I would really, really love to engage with you guys and just kind of create like a really cool following on this channel. And so yeah, if you like this video, please hit the like button and please hit the subscribe button. I am really trying to get into posting weekly and things like that. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.